we got all 8 teams that are still standing. 3/4 of the team is sitting home watching. And so these games, the magnitude, I was just explaining to somebody, and I'm sure, we'll get into this, but any weakness you have and have had gets exposed in each succeeding round that you go into. If, for example, the Rams have had problems on special teams all year long. Showed up again last week, getting a punt block, allowed Carolina to, get in the game and take the lead there. Whatever weakness you have, it gets exposed in this round. And so if you have problems protecting your quarterback during the year, you're going to have problems in this round protecting your quarterback.
Well, so Baldy, let's just start right there with that. What's the weakness that the Broncos need to try to protect so it doesn't get exposed? And on the opposite side, what do you think the Broncos are going to try to expose with the Bills?
Well, I would say that, the Broncos have not had great success running the football this year, yet they still try, to do it with a variety of backs and in different ways. It's a variety of different players are going to touch the ball. But I think that's been a consistent weakness. And then, third downs have been a problem, staying on the field. That's been an issue for them. So, and then, the Buffalo Bills, I think they have 3 healthy wide receivers right now. Maybe it's less than that. So who is Josh Allen going to be throwing the ball to? And then their weakness, conversely, has been stopping the run against good running teams. When they have faced those teams, it's been an issue this year.
I'm curious what the Jags did to stop the Bills' run game, because you hear the people talking about the Bills all year and the way James Cook is running, NFL's leading rusher, and then you watch the Jags play him, and 15 carries, 75 yards, something like that. Not all that much going on. 15 for 45, I think.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, the one of the stats going into the game is the Bills were the second leading rushing team in the league, and James Cook led the league in rushing, but Jacksonville was quietly the number 2 team against the run all year, and for most of the year. And so, they're just big inside, and they stack it up, and they play a reduced front. And even their ends, Josh Hines-Allen and, Taylor, those guys are big defensive ends. And so they stack you up at the line of scrimmage, and they use good technique. They don't let you get into your body. They don't get driven off the ball. And so that was an issue for that Buffalo Bills offensive line in that game.
Baldy, I'm not sure if you've looked at the injury reports for these 2 teams, but they are drastically different. The Broncos largely healthy, the Bills, tons of guys on their injury report. Curious from your perspective, it's not maybe something we talk about too often, but how often this time of year is it just the team that's more healthy that kind of got the injury luck throughout the season that moves on?
Well, you can say that, but the San Francisco is as banged up as any team, and they went into Philadelphia and skunked them. You can't underestimate anybody. Look, the Broncos have been largely healthy for most of the year. I mean, offensive line, here and there, center, left guard a little bit. But for the most part, they've been pretty healthy. Obviously, J.K. Dobbins, I don't want to, forget about anybody. But they've been largely healthy. I know Surtain missed some games. But for the most part, they've been pretty healthy. Buffalo, they've gone to the playoffs before with linebackers that they called off the street. I remember one year, maybe it was last year, A.J. Klein got called off the street. Had played with the Bills for a little bit, but he ended up starting a linebacker for him. And so they have been struggling with injuries on the defensive side of the ball for much of the year, and they've overcome it. I remember I was doing a Buffalo Bill game this year, and they had a bunch of injuries at wide receiver. And Josh Allen's just out there pregame warming up, throwing the ball around. I go up to him. I go, well, who are you going to throw the ball to today, Josh? And he's like, I got dudes. Baldy. We'll be fine. And they were fine. They scored like 40-something points, in the game against Tampa, and they beat Tampa that day. And sure enough, I didn't know much about some of the receivers that they were thrown to that day, but they all kind of stepped up and performed.
Well, Baldy, you talk about dudes. Josh Allen is that dude for the Bills. And if you're Vance Joseph, how do you try to slow down Josh? Is it cage rush? Is it blitzing guys? Is it zone? Is it man? What is the formula that you expect Vance to use this week?
I don't think there's one formula. When they've gotten beat by the Chiefs in this, whether it's the divisional round or whether it's championship round, whatever. Steve Spagnuolo tried everything. He had Nick Bolton spy. He had edge pressure coming off the slot and getting, quick pressure at Josh where he had to react quickly. I've seen 2-man spies on Josh Allen with both linebackers. Didn't have any duties except to spy Josh Allen on third downs. and everybody else was involved with coverage. So I've seen a variety of different ways. I don't think Vance has just one way. I know this. Like they can send 5-man pressure and just stay in their lanes and mush rush and try to keep him in the pocket. And they've got the speed to chase him down, from Nick to Jonathan, pick a guy. But I would think that you're going to see quite a change in what they don't want to give him just the same thing on third downs or even in second and longs, where he just gets to see, okay, that guy's a spy. I can fake this way. Like Ellis last week was spying, when they were playing Justin Herbert, they went to a spy because of how much he was running. And, Christian Ellis has the speed. That's the problem is you got to have a guy that can spy Josh Allen if you choose to do so, but he's got to be as fast, if not faster than Josh Allen. That seems to be kind of hard to find.
Do you think it could be a little bit easier this week since Josh has, I think they listed him as limited with foot, knee, and finger injuries after the beating he took on Sunday. Do you expect to see him look any different than like just full on MVP Josh Allen this week?
I don't expect to see him look any different. They said the same thing last week, and he ran right through Jacksonville's deep. I mean, just, basically bum rushed him all the way down to the goal line for that game-winning touchdown. They couldn't get to his legs, and you can't get to his legs. You're not going to get him down to the ground. But he's gonna leave it all on the field. Like he's not going to. The last thing Josh Allen wants to do is sit on the bench like he did against Kansas City 4 years ago and watch the Chiefs score. Tie the game up in 13 seconds and not get on the field after they scored in the opening drive when they changed the rules for overtime. Like he doesn't want to leave anything to chance here, and so and I'm sure Sean Payton, is showing him some of these videos, especially even last week, how he's more than capable of willing his team to victory and overcoming all the odds to try and advance here to a championship level round.
Baldy, the Bills have been running a lot of like exotic coverages in the secondary to try and confuse different quarterbacks. What do you think Sean Payton's approach to that would be? How do you attack when a team's, trying to show you one thing at the line and then bailing out of it at the last second?
I think you just attack underneath. Like the last thing you want to do is just go over the top. That's kind of what they're inviting you to do with some of the disguises, but they're basically and largely a zone team. And so like you just keep hitting them underneath. And then, you miss a tackle, you go, instead of 8 yards, you go for 20. So I think they're going to take completions, take first downs, possess the ball, at least to start with, and just take what the defense gives them right here. Bo Nix has been incredible at just extending plays throughout the year, allowing him to do those kind of things, really tighten up the, all of the fundamentals in your scramble drills, somebody going deep, somebody coming short. Maybe they kind of adjust those a little bit for Bo, depending on which side he takes off on. So I think that would be part of the game plan. But I would think they just hit Buffalo underneath and let them make those guys tackle in space right now.
Baldy, along those lines, what does a winning game from Bo look like this week, specifically going up against this Bills team?
Well, I mean, like I said about the magnification of issues, like you can't he's been good about taking care of the football, but you don't want to give them anything. You don't want to give them a short field. You want to put the ball on the ground. He's done a good job of taking care of it. So, I mean, that's number one. But then number two, like, don't play. I guess he's played, it seems to me that he's played loose for most of the year, and that's benefited him. He's stayed on his feet. He stayed healthy. He's played very loose, very fast. Like, I don't want him to play tight and just because it's sudden death, it's playoffs, it's lose and go home. Like, don't play with that mentality. Play not to get beat. Like, stay aggressive with the ball. Stay aggressive on your scrambles and what you see and trust it. And I think that will serve him well.
What do you think of Bo running more? We didn't see it too much during the regular season, not as much as last year, where I think only like Lamar, Josh Allen, and maybe one other had more. I think Jaden Daniels had more rushing yards. But this year just wasn't quite the same. Do you think that ticks up now that you're in the playoffs?
Well, I mean, first of all, those guys you just mentioned, I mean, Bo just started 17 games. So part of it is you're not running as much. But then Jaden Daniels, Lamar, these guys are all banged up. And they're not playing 17 games. And one of the reasons why their teams aren't in the playoffs. So, I think you have to get smarter as you get older. But this is playoff football. Like, the last thing you want to do is have any regrets. So if there's opportunities to go run now, you got to protect yourself, play to the rules, know when it's time to get down, know when it's time to get out of bounds. You got to be smart about it. But, right now, the last thing you want to do is have any regrets. And so you play as aggressively as you can, knowing that, look, if you can get to the backup quarterback, you have a much better chance of winning. So protect yourself.
Baldy, do the Broncos get this done and move on to the AFC Championship game?
I think they're a more complete team. And, I would say there would be a chance if it wasn't Sean Payton as a coach. I think Sean Payton is built for the postseason. Just knowing all the guys at Fox when he spent a year at Fox and how he was when it got to the postseason. Like, he's going to coach just a little bit different. He's already getting curt with the reporters. Like, it's just Sean, he's already agitated, like nothing's going to get him out of that frame of mind. Nothing until you get him a victory here. So I like the Broncos. I like the way the coach is hard at this time of the year. You need to be. You can't give anybody anything right now. And so you coach to win.
I absolutely love it, Baldy. And final one for you. Let's say the Broncos do get it done. On Sunday, when Broncos country is watching Texans go into New England, who should they be rooting for? Who would be a better matchup for them in the AFC Championship game?
Now, I think the Patriots would be a better matchup. Their defense is good. Don't get me wrong. Christian Gonzalez, Marcus Jones, Carlton Davis, they're a great secondary. But they're not the Texans. They don't have those edge monsters that the Texans have. And then, you saw Drake May turn the ball over a couple times last week. He's going to give you now. So did, obviously C.J. Stroud did as well. But I feel like the Texans defense, they're 6-0 right now in their last 6 road games. And the teams are averaging 12 points against them. They're road warriors. And their defense travels. And I think that's the most feared side of the ball of the 8 teams left right now in this postseason.
All right, let's go, Baldy. Incredible insight. We are so hoping you're right so we can be talking with you about an AFC Championship game here in the Mile High City next week.
I hope I'm there. Hope I'm there for it. Hope they send me out there for that game.
Let's go. We would love that. Baldy, thank you for your insight, and we will talk to you next week.
Thanks, Zach. Thanks, guys. See you next week.
Thanks,
Good
Baldy.
luck, man. Have fun.
Man, incredible insight and also optimistic insight here. So, sometimes, not really this year because everyone's bought into the Broncos, but over the years when we get a national person on and they're like, yeah, no, the Broncos aren't it. And it's like, that's an unfortunate reality. But not with Baldy. He's saying the Broncos are going to win.